कहाँ है 20 lakh? It's a hoax. The number, the correct number, and I've given a breakup of that, is 1,86,650 crore.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप देख रहे हैं राजपथ द क्विंट अंग्रेजी, हिंदी और ब्लूमबर्ग क्विंट पर। आपके मन में, हमारे मन में, सबके मन में इस वक्त बहुत सारे बेचैनी भरे सवाल हैं और सवाल ये है कि कोरोना के इन्फेक्शन कर्व का क्या हो रहा है, क्या ये काबू में आ रहा है, सरकार हमारी इकोनॉमी और लाइवलीहुड को संभालने के लिए क्या कर रही है, और माइग्रेंट की जो ट्रेजेडी है। चिदम्बरम साहब, आपने हमारे लिए वक्त निकाला, आपका बहुत शुक्रिया। आपसे पहला सवाल यही है कि जो डिबेट है 20 लाख करोड़ के पैकेज का, इसको हम कैसे देखें? एक तरफ तो लोग कह रहे हैं कि रिवॉल्यूशनरी है, दूसरी तरफ कह रहे हैं कि ये हुडविंकिंग है। आप एक्सप्लेन करें ये नंबर्स क्या हैं?
I asked the government to take my table and tell me where I'm wrong. Every rating agency, every bank has assessed the value of the fiscal package as between 1.75 lakhs to about 3 lakh crore is the most generous estimate I've seen. 20 lakh crore is a hoax. There is no 20 lakh crore. And if they have 20 lakh crore as additional expenditure, they have to borrow 20 lakh crore. And even the finance minister is not saying she's going to borrow an additional 20 lakh crore.
उनका ये कहना है कि फिस्कल हो, लिक्विडिटी हो, चीजों को फैसिलिटेट करना हो, आरबीआई लिक्विडिटी अवेलेबल करवाए, ये सब आफ्टर ऑल कर तो सरकार ही रही है ना।
But why do you call it a fiscal stimulus package? Call it a package of liquidity, fiscal stimulus, reforms, and RSS ideology. You can call it whatever you like. But the word fiscal stimulus has only one meaning. Universally, it has only one meaning. Matlab, what it means is over and above the budget. Budget number ke upar, you will spend additional money. Zyada paisa government will spend. The budget is 30,42,230 crore. 30 lakh crore. Question is, how much are you going to spend above 30 lakh crore? 30 lakh ka zyada kitna expenditure? Rating downgrade is a bogey. Every country is going into a recession. Germany, France, Britain, every country will go into a recession. India will not be the only country. If they downgrade India, they have to downgrade 100 countries of the world. Is any rating agency going to downgrade 100 countries of the world? Even then, the relative rating will remain the same. It's a bogey. Fiscal prudence cannot be at the cost of starving millions of people. Crore log, they are starving today. They are hungry. They have no food. They have no cash. Fiscal prudence can't be at the cost of starving. See, this government is a prisoner of two things. One side, ignorance, what we call jnana sunya. They are ignorant. They simply don't know how to manage the macroeconomy. The other side is fear, buy. They're afraid this will happen, that will happen. If you do nothing, worse will happen. Before Corona, for 8 quarters, 8 quarter ke liye, declining growth. That has nothing to do with Corona. That has only got to do with Mr. Modi. His government's economic mismanagement brought 8 quarters of declining growth, came to below 4.5%, close to 4%. Corona has made it worse. Corona will take us to negative territory. Even if Corona had not come, this government was mismanaging the economy. Now, they don't know how to manage the economy. With the Corona impact, They are completely clueless about how to manage the economy. That is born out of arrogance. That is born out of the fact that next parliament elections are 4 years away. 4 saal ke baad. We can manage. But the people of India are not fools. They have suffered so much in the last 2 years, and they are suffering today in a measure unparalleled, unprecedented. They will remember this even after 4 years. They may forgive the government today, but they will never forget what the government did to them today. States which have absorbed the migrants have treated them as subhumans. They don't have ration card, they don't have proper housing, they don't have voting rights in that state. Therefore, the states don't pay any attention to the migrant because he's not a voter in that state. Suppose there are some 50 lakh migrants in Mumbai. They don't vote. No? Therefore, nobody in Mumbai bothers about them. Therefore, today, when a migrant wants to go home, they thought, let him go home. How will he go home? You don't provide trains. You know what Karnataka did? Karnataka canceled the trains. Only when there was an agitation and a revolt, they restored the trains. Now, the railways say we have taken 10 lakh people by trains, 10 lakh. But every state is saying, UP alone is saying 50 lakhs have come back. How did the remaining 40 lakhs come back? By walk. They are walking 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers. States don't care. It's the biggest human tragedy of India since partition migration. The FM's package, she says we will give them 5 kilograms of grain for 2 months, 10 kilograms of grain. Assuming a kilogram of grain today costs 40 rupees, they are giving 400 rupees to a migrant who has walked 400 kilometers. They are treating him as if he is not a human being. See, nobody is complaining about self-reliance. Every country wants to be as self-reliant and as self-sufficient as possible. Every country. But self-reliance does not mean you shut yourself off from the world. You have to be competitive. I will buy a product made in India, provided it is of the same quality as a product available elsewhere in the world. It's the same price or cheaper than what is available in the world, and it adopts the latest technology. Self-reliance cannot be at the cost of efficiency, competition, and being part of the world. See, actually, remember, Mr. Modi came on national television, announced lockdown 1, and he said, in 21 days, we will win this war. Mahabharata took 18 days. We will win in 21 days. Lockdown 2 also, he announced on national television and said, be patient. We are on the right path. We will defeat the virus. But remember, lockdown 3, he did not come on television. It was issued by a notification of the MHA. Lockdown 4, again, another notification by MHA. Mr. Modi has very cleverly passed the buck to the state governments. He has passed the responsibility to the state governments. Now, state governments are scared about the number of infections and the number of deaths. The infection rate is about 4% of the testing rate, and the death rate, fatality rate, is 3% of the infection rate. It is still very low, but they are afraid of those numbers. But unfortunately, unless a vaccine is found, there is no cure for virus. We have to learn to live with a virus, manage the situation, and protect ourselves. It's for each one to protect himself or herself by washing hands, wearing a mask, maintaining social distancing, and trying to not to touch other people. Now, but the states are caught in a bind. We are in a dark tunnel. When we come to the end of the tunnel, we build another tunnel. When we come to the end of the second tunnel, we're building another tunnel. There's no end to this at all. After lockdown 4 ends on May 31, where is the guarantee there will not be lockdown 5? This is not an exit strategy. Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, who began the lockdown, is duty-bound to tell the people of India what is the exit strategy from this lockdown. I think that Mr. Modi has very cleverly washed his hands, passed the buck to the state governments and say, you manage now. He's very cleverly done that. The Chief Minister should join together and tell Mr. Modi, you started it, it is your responsibility, give us money. Give us money, we will manage it. He doesn't give them money. He allows them to borrow with 100 conditions. Those conditions cannot be fulfilled in 2020-21. No state will be able to borrow anything more than what it was earlier allowed. And Mr. Modi has very cleverly passed the buck to the chief ministers, and I hope the chief ministers realize what has happened. But we are doing it every day. Even my press conference yesterday was that. The chief ministers, Amrinder Singh, Gehlot, Baghel, have all spoken up. They want money. And today, you find even non-Congress chief ministers protesting against the conditions of the additional borrowing. Tamil Nadu chief minister has written a letter. How does a state borrow when you impose so many conditions? Take MSMEs. There are 6.3 crore MSMEs in this country. 6 crore 30 lakh, employing about 11 crore people. Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman's package only gives collateral-free loan and credit guarantee to 45 lakh MSMEs. It completely leaves out 5.8 crore MSMEs. There is no financial support to them. There is no fiscal support to them. There is no liquidity support to them. There is no collateral-free credit. There is no credit guarantee. Many of them, I'm afraid, will close down. But there's nothing to them, not even a pai, not even a paisa. They will close down. Now, large industry was expecting they will get support. Automobile, aviation, exports, leather, cement. They thought they will get support. Now, they have thrown up their hands also. They say this 5-tranche package did not give them any support. Not a word about the large organized industries of India. Many of them won't open for many, many months. If they open, they will open only part operation. See, Maruti, you saw the news item report, sold 5,000 cars to its dealers. Look at the number. It's a 5,000 has gone from its inventory. It is not newly manufactured car. This is the old stock which is lying for the last 4 months. And 5,000 cars have gone to 1,350 dealers. Each dealer has taken only 2 or 3 Maruti cars. So how will the automobile industry revive? How will the aviation industry revive? How will tourism, travel revive? I'm afraid this year, don't expect any growth in industry or services. Agriculture is the only silver lining. At the end of the year, we will be in negative territory. In fact, many have already predicted it will be minus 5% growth. I don't wish minus 5%, but it will be in negative territory. If the country has a negative growth, the first to be affected will be the poorest of the poor. Already, some 11, 12 crore people have lost their jobs. They will not get back their jobs. If your child or my child has graduated from college and was waiting, say, earlier for 3 months or 6 months to get a job, now the child has to wait for at least 2 years before another job will come. So unemployment will increase. The period of unemployment will increase. The poor will be the most affected. The unskilled, the daily worker will be the most deficient. Look at the chain reaction. No jobs, longer unemployment, lower income and wages, less consumption, nutrition decline, more diseases, more hospitalization. So an economy which is on a decline with very serious consequences, which is why we emphasize economy must grow at 7 to 8%. Instead of growing at 7 to 8%, this year we're going to end with minus 5%. This year we will have negative growth. Number one. Number two, if a country has negative growth or 1% growth, nobody's going to invest in that country. India got investment when we were growing at 7, 8%. India will not get foreign investment when we are growing at 0% or 1%. So all these are castles built in the air. Nothing of this happened. Agriculture is the only silver lining because it is in the private hands of farmers of this country. The farmer, however poor he is, what can he do? He has only farming as a skill. So whether it's drought or whether it's a flood or whether it's a famine, he has to go back to the farm and work. If the farmers will continue to produce, but every other sector is going to be seriously affected. 2020-21 is washed out. If the government accepts wise advice and takes the correct steps, there is a possibility that we will get back some growth in 2021-22. Are they asking for our advice? We are giving it voluntarily, unsolicited advice. They don't even acknowledge it. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi has written 3 letters. The Prime Minister's office does not even acknowledge it. I have addressed press conferences. I have given tweets. Nobody in government even acknowledges that we are giving suggestions. From Dr. Raghuram Rajan to Dr. Abhijit Banerjee to Dr. Prabhat Patnaik to Dr. Thomas Isaac to Dr. Rangarajan to Dr. Ashok Gulati. Everybody has given advice. Azim Premji, Venu Srinivasan. Nobody listens to us. The answer today is to borrow more and spend more. If you find that the fiscal deficit has reached an uncomfortable level, monetize the deficit. What is the problem in monetizing the deficit? It's a perfectly legitimate thing to do. It is the right of the sovereign to print notes. Only the sovereign has the right. You have that right. You don't want to use it, then why do you have that right? These all won't work in the short run. Today, if you go and sell the government land, railway land or public sector enterprises land, the entire process will take 1 year. You will have to first identify the parcels of land. You will have to have valuation of that land. You will have to draft the bidding document. You will have to invite bids. You will have to set the criteria and you will have to monetize it. It's not going to be easy. Secondly, if anybody who's got cash, why would he go and buy land today? Why would he put the money in land today, which is unproductive, unless there is some industry coming up there? I don't think that is going to happen. Now, about gold, let me ask you a simple question. Ask your wife, ask your sister, if they've got, say, 100 grams of gold or 200 grams of gold. Will anybody today, a poor family may have 10 grams, 15 grams of gold. Will anyone, lower middle class, poor people, this is so-called hidden gold, will they go and give their gold to the government and take a bond today? Will anyone today, in today's condition, go give their gold to the government? No way. Most gold is with Hindu temples. I don't think the mosques have gold. I don't know whether the Christian churches have gold. Now tell me which, every state has got its own Hindu Religious Endowments Act. There is an act today. Which act allows the temple to pledge the gold or sell the gold? All these are people who are talking without understanding the law, without understanding customs, without understanding the what the believers will do when this kind of suggestion is thrown out. All these are simply crazy ideas. See, they've already taxed. See, I didn't mention this yesterday in my statement, but they've already stopped, frozen the DA and DR and saved 37,500 crore. They've already taxed petrol and diesel and got about 1,60,000 crore. So 1,97,000 crore this government has already taxed and saved. Now, question now is the 4.2 lakh crore they're going to borrow, that will go only to meet the revenue shortfall. It will not help for additional expenditure because the revenue side is going to take a hit. And my information is that they have calculated the hit as 4,20,000 crore, which is why they announced about 3 weeks ago they will borrow another 4,20,000 crore. All that is cancelled out. Today, the only way is to borrow more in the market and monetize the fiscal deficit if it becomes necessary. If you don't borrow, if you don't spend, you are in trouble.